What do you say, baseball fans? Rye Bread here, round two, talking baseball. I want to start by thanking everyone who viewed my last video. It was well over 100, and I'm already sponsored for next week. I'm so grateful. Maraming salamat po. I had a lot of action in the Philippines and in Korea also. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 정말 감사합니다. I'm really happy with the turnout. So let's get into some more baseball talk. Thanks again. I got three for today. Musgrove, an awesome article by Devin Fink and John Means. Like, busted. But his story is such that you gotta, I'm going easy on John Means. It's been a long road for that guy. But man, egregious, dude. Busted. Like hardcore with whatever he had in that glove. But from the top, you got to start with Musgrove. You got grown men crying in the stands. You've got the announcers barely holding it together. Everybody was so pumped, man. It was so cool. And I was crying because I'm soft. When I see people that are overcome with joy, I join. I'm so empathetic that way, dude. I'm so soft. When people are that happy, I get happy too. And it was so awesome. The first in the history of the franchise. And it's like, you compare that next to the thing that happened with Barrios and Rocco. And this is just a completely different thing, but it seems so close. It's like, how can you feel that both of these clubs handled it correctly? Well, I do. This is the first time in franchise history you got a chance for the no-hitter. You could use a boost. Your best player, your franchise player, has got a messed up wing. And, dude, this couldn't have come at a better time for them, but I think they handled it right, and I think that the Twins handled it right, even though it's a different decision. But I'm telling you, he was efficient and thorough. The Rangers will receive no bill. That was one dominant pitching performance, and made even better by the reaction of everybody in the stands, the players. I really enjoyed watching that. And it kind of got me thinking about, how do guys do when they come back from that? And it's been kind of looked over quite a bit, but I found this article by J.J., let me make sure to get this right, J.J. Cooper, a 2019 article. It's about Kumar Rocker from Vandy, the Alabama of college baseball, basically. And he had thrown, this is a 2019 article, he had thrown a no-no of 130 pitches, and they were examining the damage that you could possibly do, and it made a lot of sense. He tracked the last 12 pitchers to throw a no-no in the bigs with 120 plus pitches, and he found that on the rebound, the ERA's inflated. The average of those guys, the last 12, but that started in 2019. So the last 12 starting in 2019, the average was almost 5.5, 5.4. So you might want to think about fading Musgrove in the next matchup. I think in daily fantasy, I'm going to have to fade him because the numbers just scream that it's going to be a down game. Because you have to figure to throw the no-hitter, no matter how good your stuff is, you're going to get a lucky bounce. The baseball gods are going to balance him out, I think. I know that's... Anyway, it just seems like the history shows that you can fade Musgrove either in daily fantasy or just straight up bet after that. I don't know if it's baked into the number, but we'll have to check. I'm going to keep an eye on that next start for him. And go check out that article by J.J. Cooper. It was just awesome. I'm going to link it. But Baseball America has a bunch of great articles, but this one in particular just caught my eye because I was actively searching for information about post no-hitter starts. And that was one of the best ones that I found, so I'll link that up. I think there were only two guys. It's interesting to note. That 5.5 ERA should be higher, but two of the guys, Jimenez and Fires, they had great games after their no-hitter. And if it wasn't for those two guys, the number would be substantially higher. So it's probably pretty safe to go the other way against the Padres and Musgrove next time out. Not to rain on his parade, because it's awesome. It's so awesome. The next article I found was Devin Fink from Fangraphs. He tweeted his article, and I went to go look at it. It's about velo, how velocity is the king. That's basically the point of the article. And it just confirms what every baseball fan has seen over the last couple of years, where it was like, man, does everybody have 98 in this bullpen? And then the next year, man, does everybody have 98 and 99 in this bullpen? And then it seemed, does everybody have a hundo? And then Hicks comes out, does everybody have a bucko 3? Like, it's going insane. But it's not uncommon for so many bullpen guys to have these, like, huge readings. Like, they're just blowing up the radar gun. Like, as a prerequisite, you got to have 98 out of the bullpen, it seems. And I think what's ended up happening is in the chase for that, it's gone way skewed compared to former data. And this guy, Devin Fink, man, he laid it out perfectly. And I am a professor in my normal life. And if, as a university paper, obviously he's a professional, but this is beyond that. But man, A+, my goodness. It's so well written and detailed. And I don't argue with the fact that it's true. It's clearly true. It just basically confirms what everybody was thinking. But he's quantified it in a way that's hard to understand. But it leads me to the question. This is like the meat and potatoes question of this episode. Like, how is that to the benefit of the club to push these guys to throw it that hard when 95 is going to keep any major league hitter off your off-speed stuff if you can throw it for a strike, you would think. A respected journalist that I respect personally, and he's, a World Series champ, he laid this out in his podcast when I was watching Wake and Rake, and he was like, look, man, you can use the fastball to set up the off-speed. And I don't know, Will Middlebrooks, he did a really good job of explaining it. Like, you don't need to have 100, you need to have a break in the speed, and we know that. Just, you don't have to be a professional hitter to remember, like, getting badly fooled. I had an interview when I was doing Talking Sports way back, and there was a guy in St. Pete, there's old guys everywhere, and at Masteries, they had all the old spring training photos where it would be, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth's old summer house is on 38th Avenue. And there's so much history there for baseball. And he had played for, like, the Browns, the baseball Browns, or the Senators or something. Like, his career was basically of teams that I hadn't even heard of. And he was in his 90s when he gave me the interview, and he was talking about Bob Gibson or something related to arm slot, changing speeds. And it made a lot of sense to me then. But it seems like that would be how you would teach your studs so that you could keep them longer. Like, forcing these guys to throw that 100 and whatever heat, you have to think that takes the shelf life off the guys. Now, I don't know if throwing 5 or 6 inning a start as opposed to 9 or 8 is going to, like, balance that, but it's something to definitely keep an eye on. From the club's perspective, I'm sure their cost-benefit analysis is much better than my offhand research on it. But it just seems like you're doing a disservice to your good players. Like, if you're a fringy guy and you need to change your mechanics and kind of whip the ball out there cross body so you can get from 91 to 93, 94 and stick around for a year or two, yeah, I know a 1,000 people that would sign up for that. Man, if somebody said to you, look, you can have the stuff to do an inning in the big leagues, and then after you do that inning, we're going to take the arm, you'd still have people sign up. So the player side of it, I understand. You do what you can to get on the field. My goodness. That's not what I'm talking about. It's like, from an organizational standpoint, do you want to tax your guys like that? And then he's taxed out like that. You're in September, and then he blows out his arm. I mean, what does that do to your clubhouse? It just seems like it's too much risk for not enough reward when you can throw 95 and still keep people off balance if you've got secondary stuff. But I'm not a major league hitter, and if somebody threw 95 by me, like I wouldn't touch 95. But these guys can pull a bullet, man. It's just you keep getting it faster, they're still gonna hit it straight fastballs. That's what professional hitters do. So I just don't, unless they're trying to find that speed where you can no longer react. That doesn't sound very fun, and it definitely doesn't sound very healthy. But it's something to watch, and that's something that was just so well written that it caught my eye. Devin Fink Fangraphs. I'll put it in the description. The last one is old John Means. Like I said, I don't want to go too hard on this guy, man. It's just not cool, but wow, you can't get caught that red-handed doctoring up the ball. And he had this amazing stuff. There's articles all over the internet about how amazing John Means' curve off speed is, and rejuvenated changeup that's just so incredible. Well, we found the parachute, right? We found the reason why that changeup was so incredible. Now, I'm not saying the guy can't throw an awesome changeup without it, because I don't know. But the fact is, he didn't have that awesome changeup. All of a sudden, he does, and there's video of the guy doctoring the ball. Like, billboard evidence. Like, it's not that hard on the replay. But I watched the game, and I wasn't even thinking about that. I was watching because it was hilarious. He was, like, making these guys just swing over changeups right down the middle of the plate that they knew were coming, and it was gross. It was a fun game to watch, but I didn't think that he was doing that. I didn't see it at the time. So I can call it egregious and billboard, but I didn't see it. So now that I have, I'm really curious, how do players feel about that? Because there's a big difference between putting some pine tar on the ball so you don't put one in a guy's ear hole because it's cold, and putting something on the ball so you throw an unhittable pitch. Like, I think there's a very wide range on that scale of what you can put on the ball. And I don't know if it's bullfrog or whatever. I don't know what they're using. Like, I'd like to know. Hopefully somebody can get something going in the comments this time, because I really want to get conversation out of this. But those are my three big ones. The first one is just kind of like a celebration. Joe Musgrove, congratulations. That is so awesome. And then this article by Devin Fink is worth a look. And I want to try and get a discussion going on how does it benefit the club to have these guys throwing so hard when it's clearly impacting the arm health. I don't know the any other way to say it. I'm curious as to how that's going to play out. And then finally with John Means, I mean, my goodness, it's such a sticky situation with his situation. It's a double situation. But I don't know what's going to happen with him. I'm sure he'll get suspended, right? I mean, I haven't seen anything yet, but it seems like it's a little much. It reminds me of that Major League video where Charlie Sheen's asking him, what's that shit on your chest? It's hilarious. Anyway, a lot of fun, guys. Thanks again. I'll keep them coming. I'm going to try and do 162 in a row. We'll see if I can manage. But be well. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.